Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to our webinar, Advancing Remote Sensing Education with the L3Harris Academic Program. My name is Jody Lee, Marketing Strategist for L3Harris Geospatial. I'll be introducing and passing things over to our presenter today, Andrew. But before I do that, I wanted to let everybody know that you can ask questions during the webinar by entering it into the Q&A box at the bottom, and we'll try to answer as many as we can at the end of the presentation. We're also recording this webinar, and we'll have it up on our website at L3HarrisGeospatial.com in the next couple of days. We'll also be emailing you guys a link to the recording as well as the slide deck, and you're welcome to share it with your colleagues. So Andrew, if you want to go, do you have the presentation?
I do. Share my screen here in just a minute. All right. Hopefully everyone can see the presentation.
It's launching now.
Previously, I have worked as a GIS analyst and natural resources technician. I went to school at Colorado State University, where I was first introduced to geospatial technologies. This is my contact information below. Also list this at the end of the webinar. Alrighty, so we'll jump in. So L3Harris Geospatial has a long history of working with universities across the world. And as we have seen data become freely available and software easier to use, we've been seeing more and more use of remote sensing technologies. We have been supporting a variety of different academic partners across North America and the world as well. I've listed some of our academic partners below, and as you can see, a wide range of programs there. So to start off, I'm just going to talk about our core academic offerings, and then we'll dive into the academic program itself. So we'll talk about the technology first and a few of the new things that we have going on here, and then talk a little bit more about the specifics of what our program entails. So we do have over 30 years of experience developing scientifically proven solutions. Our main academic offerings are ENVI, which is an environment for visualizing images, ENVI SARscape, which is a full suite of SAR radar tools to analyze SAR data. We also have IDL, which is our foundational programming language. It's a scientific programming language to analyze complex numerical data. And then we also have a data and imagery team. Our data and imagery team does sell quite a bit to academia, and they offer subscription services, one-off imagery offerings through top providers like Maxar, Airbus, and Digital Globe. All right, so we'll start with ENVI. So ENVI is a full-featured remote sensing platform. It has everything for your pre-processing tools down to your most advanced analytics. ENVI supports almost all geospatial data types, specifically remote sensing data types. ENVI is also integrated with ArcGIS. It has automated workflows. You can see the picture here. The animation is of our ENVI modeler, which allows you to build models, save, and repeat those models. We also have extensible modules. So these are add-on modules with specialized tools that you can add on to your base ENVI package. And then ENVI is accessible in enterprise partner platforms and in the cloud. So we have partnered with various organizations like Cloud.io to host ENVI on their partner platform. And ENVI is also able to be run on your AWS instances as well. So it's not just the typical desktop solution. It's a wide-ranging, accessible platform. All right. Moving on to the next slide. We are data support. So as I mentioned earlier, ENVI is supporting almost all remote sensing data types and many of the most common geospatial data types. One of our strengths and how ENVI became such a strong product was through hyperspectral data back in the day. And then we have advanced over the years to support things like thermal, SAR, elevation data, LiDAR, and then your just traditional aerial and multispectral data sources. One thing to mention here too is ENVI doesn't just support geospatial data sources. You can also ingest general TIFF images into ENVI. So we've seen customers ingest medical images of different types into ENVI as well. So as long as it's an image format that ENVI supports, you can ingest it. So there's some foundational capabilities listed here. I'm not going to go into all of them today, but some things to call out are Thor tools, which is a suite of tools for hyperspectral data. So it's an automated workflow that allows you to set your parameters and crunch through some of those hyperspectral images to tease out certain signatures or whatever you're looking for in that data. Since ENVI is an end-to-end remote sensing solution, you can do all your pre-processing within ENVI and then move on to more advanced things like deep learning as well. So ENVI modules. We have about 6 modules for ENVI that you can add on to the base platform. Our latest addition to the ENVI product family is the deep learning module. The deep learning module allows you to easily label data, extract features, and iterate. So you can use this module to take some of the complexity out of deep learning. So this module was designed to have a UI interface with preset parameters and a guide map as well to help you move through some of the model portion of the workflow, as well as helping you label and train that data. So that's a really important piece here is the training data, it can take a lot of time and it can be very complex, but the great part about the UI interface is it makes it just a little bit easier to train that data. And then we have a DM extraction module, an atmospheric correction module, feature extraction, photogrammetry, and crop science. I won't dive into all these individually too much, but we will post links and reference materials for these modules if you are interested in learning more. ENVI Server. So I'm really excited about this new addition to ENVI. ENVI Server is designed to allow you to save time by running processes in parallel. You can run processes in the background in ENVI, and you can also take advantage of powerful machines. So this is a really exciting thing for us because it adds more power to the ENVI program. And with each NV 5.6 installation, you actually get a free ENVI server which essentially includes 2 nodes in it that allow you to either push processing in the background or connect to a common data store for distributed processing. ENVI is a client for ENVI Server, so you can connect to machines used for dedicated processing. This is also a great way, if you're interested in expanding ENVI into more enterprise level or server level applications, because you can add on ENVI servers if you need more processing. So you're not just limited to the ENVI server that's included with the base ENVI package. You can also add additional server nodes to extend your processing there. Right, how to access ENVI server. So I just want to cover this because for those of you that do have a current ENVI 5.6 installation, it's ready to go. It's there for your use. I've highlighted in red here, run model in background and run task in the background. This is a very simple way just to access ENVI server. So you can access ENVI server from any ENVI task dialog, like you see for quick atmospheric correction here below, or through the ENVI modeler, which allows you to process maybe even some of those more complex models on a server, and then you can get back to your work. So this is a really important thing for increasing efficiency for those of you that are interested in that and to different projects and not just ENVI, but another piece of your geospatial workflow. So accessing ENVI and IDL in cloud. Looks like a few of these clouds got moved around here, but there's an animation. I'm going to click through real quick, but this is just a simple example of how to set up ENVI on AWS. So really, we're seeing a lot of adoption of AWS instances and use across universities. There seems to be more and more access for universities, especially during COVID. And if you are able to get access to an EC2 instance or an S3 buckets, you can push ENVI server commands through a local machine up into the cloud, and then the command can be sent to display results and share results across different labs or different research groups. So you can have results displayed for everyone or keep it in one shared location. And then apologies for this animation here. It seems to be having a mind of its own, but I'll skip past this and move into ArcGIS integration. So this is a really important integration for us because a lot of our users use either ArcMap or ArcPro, and you can fully integrate ENVI with the ENVI Task API that allows you to push ENVI analytics directly into Arc. You can see in the picture here, you have a toolbox with ENVI analytics, and you can add the tools you need to be able to run in ArcPro. So if you have a more advanced need for classification or some of these in-depth workflows, this is a really great way to connect to ENVI and save some time as well. ArcGIS, so you can nation down here, and you can save these models and then update them, iterate, and repeat. So you can definitely use this in ArcGIS as well. NVPy leverages the ArcGIS Python support for this integration. So you can use your Python code and you can also use your Python code to update your workflows and manipulate your process there. So then moving on to ENVI Deep Learning. This is the module I talked about a bit ago, latest addition to the ENVI family, and it's applied deep learning for geospatial imagery in ENVI. you're going to create your training data, create your models, evaluate performance, and iterate through that. ENVI Deep Learning is built on TensorFlow and Keras. And you also can do a lot of different things with ENVI Deep Learning. So you can do segmentation, object detection, linear feature extraction, and as well as support for nearly image format or data modality. So you can see in the pictures below here, you have a automated flood detection using SAR, and you also have assessment of building damage. And if you notice in this building damage assessment below, if you were to look through this image and you saw a building that was damaged that the deep learning module didn't pick up, you would want to go back into your training data and relabel that a bit, so it either gets rid of some false positives or is able to capture things that it missed in the first model. And doing that a few times and iterating through that will continually improve the model. One of the great things about the UI task dialogues with ENVI Deep Learning is it does come with the deep learning guide map. And the deep learning guide map is kind of how it sounds. It has some parameters and things to help guide you either with your hardware, so seeing if your hardware meets the system requirements, or just helps you with general loss and things that you can adjust and save some time, really, because the guide map is designed to help you get started quickly, and then you can go back through and adjust. SARscape Analytics is another addition to the SARscape family. So for those of you that aren't familiar, ENVI SARscape is the full suite of SAR radar tools. And the analytics portion of this is a new suite of common SAR processing applications. So these are automated workflows that are designed to take a little bit of the complexity out of processing SAR data. So you do not have to be an expert in SAR to use SARscape Analytics. And this is a really good entry point for those of you that are interested in getting into SAR. One thing I do want to call out the SARscape Analytics is it's got a new low price point. However, that's only in the US and Canada. This new low price points also has a 1-year term license option that runs at about half the rate of the $9.99 that you see below. And the tools you have listed here are all included in the base ENVI package when you open SARscape Analytics folder. All right, moving on to IDL. So IDL is a scientific programming language that's used to extract visualizations from complex numerical data. IDL is really how our company got its start, coming out of CU Boulder in about 3 decades ago. And since then, we've used IDL actually to build ENVI. And IDL is a modern programming language, so you can create visualizations and applications from fewer lines of code. And you can also integrate IDL with other languages. So IDL has what's called the IDL bridge, and that allows you to push IDL code between either Python or Java. And really, you can go both ways there. So you can push your Python code into IDL or your IDL code into Python and move between programming languages. You can access virtually any type of data with IDL. So you can receive data and files from HTTP and FTP protocols. You can also access Open Geospatial Consortium servers. One of the new additions to IDL is the IDL machine learning framework. So this is a set of modern analytic methods in the new machine learning framework that includes softmat, SVM, K-means, neural network, and other tools that we have listed below. So you can see on the right, we have some example code for how to train a support vector machine. Tapping into this will make the IDL programming language more powerful for you if you are a current user or interested in doing more machine learning in other programming languages. Alrighty, so IDL is integrated for the open source world. So we have been working hard in the past few years to make IDL more accessible. So the IDL package manager makes it easy for developers to share code in open ecosystems. You can publish to GitHub. You can zip up files and folders and share with your colleagues or your projects. And then I have here on the right just a few links to IPM ready libraries that are now available. So some of these are on GitHub. And then we also have packages on our idldev.com website. And this is a really great way for a lot of our geospatial users that are using Python to kind of tap into that a little bit more and be able to be a little bit more efficient when you're going between Python and maybe IDL or ENVI. Instructors. All right. So now that we've covered some of the new things in our geospatial portfolio, I want to talk specifically to the academic program and some of the things that we provide. If you are an instructor and you do purchase an ENVI license, you have access to tutorials and help sections that are included with ENVI. And when you teach with ENVI lab licenses, you have access to training materials with data and additional training manuals that can help you create course content or lab content. So I've listed some of the tutorials here and then some of the workflows on the bottom right. One thing to note about the tutorials is they do try to cover a wide range of topics. So we have tutorials for basic hyperspectral analysis and as well as generating point clouds. So there's a few things in there that can be very useful, especially for creating lab content if that's something that's needed. A little bit more about the training. So every ENVI license you purchase, you have access to these self-paced trainings online that I have here on the top right. And then you also have access to PDF training manuals. So these PDF training manuals come with data and are really good for intro to ENVI all the way down to more advanced topics in spectral analysis. These PDF training manuals can be great for creating course content. I mentioned that a minute ago with the tutorials, but the PDF training manuals are more robust, and they, since they do cover a wide range of topics, they're well suited for different levels of remote sensing courses. So I know in my introduction to remote sensing course, we use the Intro to ENVI training manual for our lab content. And the Advanced Spectral Analytics manual can be great for more focused remote sensing classes and maybe an environmental or maybe even defense and intelligence. We do have paid consulting service options. So the Choice Credits program is a way for you to either buy consulting services or training. You would buy a credit that would provide you a certain time of training or consulting. So for either 1 day, 3 days, or a full week. And we do work quite a bit with academia and consulting. We have in the past and continue to do so. Our consulting services are there to kind of help crack some of your hardest problems or just enhance ENVI. So we do a lot of custom code writing to build tools on top of ENVI. And we have a very experienced group on our consulting side of the business that has a diverse skill set in data science, remote sensing, and they have skills in many different programming languages. So you're not just necessarily limited to what's in ENVI or IDL. If you are interested in choice credits, feel free to shoot me an email and we can talk more about that. And the training portion of the choice credits, another thing I want to mention too, training can be done on site or virtually. So if you have a need for maybe a research group, or you have new colleagues that are coming on and would like to be trained up on ENVI, we can definitely come to you or do a virtual training if that's helpful. Alrighty, so our license bundles. We have enterprise license options, lab license bundle options, and single-use licenses. So to start with our enterprise licenses, these are designed for either campus level or department level use. You can buy a complete suite of enterprise license, meaning you can buy ENVI, IDL, and all modules. So get the full package there. Or you can just buy ENVI and distribute that across campus. Because our licenses are flexible use, meaning you can install on a local machine as node locked or on a server, you can move those licenses around to different departments and labs as necessary. And also you're able to pull some licenses from a pool and share with individual colleagues. That is really helpful for the enterprise license piece because we see a lot of sharing done with these enterprise licenses, and being able to switch between local installation and server allows just for more flexibility there. Our lab license bundles come in 3 different tiers. So these are more focused just towards specific labs. We have mini labs starting at 10 users, labs at 25 users, and department level licenses of 50 users or more. Excuse me. The lab licenses come with free student temporary licensing and a 1-to-1 match with your bundle. So what this means is once you buy a lab, so you buy a 10-seat mini lab, we can provide 10 temporary student licensing licenses for either a semester or a full year. And if you are interested in this, if you do buy a lab, you can contact me and we can talk about what would work best for your classes. The nice thing about these temporary student licenses is they do just time out. So there's no need to return a license back to a server or have to do more administration with these student licenses. And we found that this has been very helpful during COVID. So a lot of universities were requiring students to install temporary licenses on their personal computers. And this really just made it easier for both students and instructors to continue on with that class without having to tap back into what's installed on campus. Our licenses can be purchased as perpetual or 1-year term. It's an initial purchase price. And once you buy a license, you'll always own it. And then there's an optional annual maintenance fee after the first year of use. So the annual maintenance fee includes software updates, technical support, license transfer capabilities. And one of the nice things about the perpetual licenses is, since maintenance is optional, if budget isn't there for 1 year, and you can't renew maintenance, the license will continue to work in the state in which it was last maintained. So it'll continue to work on the machine or server in which you'd installed and on the software version in which you had purchased or last maintained. And then you can also catch up on maintenance and get your software updated and not have to have it stay in that state. So that is nice if there is questions about budgets. The 1-year term license is as stated, it's just a 1-year term. However, we do provide an upgrade path for the 1-year term license. So if you buy a 1-year term license, you can convert it to perpetual by paying for the difference between the 2 licenses. The 1-year term licenses run at roughly. So this option can be really good if there's budget constraints and you need ENVI for a project, but you're not sure exactly what the budget is looking like. And the 1-year term license allows you to get your foot in the door, and then we can upgrade that license at the end of the year term. One nice thing about that upgrade path is you wouldn't start paying annual maintenance until the 3rd year of use. So that actually pushes that maintenance fee out another year because the perpetual license conversion includes that maintenance in the 2nd year. And if there's confusion or questions about that, please feel free to email me. And I'm always happy to explain more of that there. Alrighty, so talking about student options. So whether you're studying earth sciences, engineering, or military applications, ENVI and IDL can help you develop skills to be successful after graduation. We have an interactive forum community that crosses disciplines. So we have students on there that are, specializing in different parts of engineering or environmental sciences, as well as military applications. And they post a lot of questions and answers to those questions. So that can be a good quick resource if you are looking for a quick answer. And then we also have a student license option. So if you are a student in a university that doesn't currently have a lab license, you have the option, and if you need a license to be installed on your personal computer, you do have the option to purchase an individual student license. Now, I do want to mention that this is for US and Canada only. So just like the SARscape analytics offering, this offering is just for US and Canada right now. The ENVI and IDL student license runs at $195 for a 1-year term license. And then you can also purchase the atmospheric correction module or feature extraction module as an add-on. IDL can also be purchased at $89, and the advanced math and stats package can be purchased for $50. The only thing to mention here about student licensing is we do require a student class schedule. So once you submit your order on our academic webpage, after registering for an account on our website, we will just ask for a quick screenshot of your student class schedule to verify that you are indeed a student, and then we will issue the license to you. All right, and I'm just looking at a few questions here to make sure I'm not rushing past a lot of this. So just going to answer one question here about training materials that you can use in your courses. Miguel, yes, absolutely. We can provide the training manuals that I was mentioning in previous slides, the self-paced courses, as well as the ENVI Pocket Guides. So the ENVI Pocket Guides are our latest addition to our PDF training manuals, and those can actually be downloaded on our website. If you need a intro to ENVI training manual or an advanced analytics manual, just email me and I'll transfer that over to you. And the data would be included in that as well. Just gonna take a quick look at a few other questions. I can't get to all of them right now, but I will answer these at the end. But I'm going to answer this one about U.S. high school students. U.S. high school students can purchase a single-use license, and we do have discount options for high school students. So this is a great question. Thank you for asking that. We have further discounted academic options for high school students and community colleges. So, if you're attending a community college or you're a high school student interested in getting into remote sensing or have a need for a remote sensing project, you can create an account on our website and submit for a student license purchase. And then you can also buy directly off our standard academic price list, and we have some discount options there. So yes, we do have a few high schools around the country that are actually using ENVI. So that is not unheard of. So I'm going to talk about the student spotlight real quick, and then we can jump back into questions at the end. So we are going to be starting a student spotlight, which is really designed to learn more about your projects. We are really interested in learning about the amazing work that's going on in academia. One of my favorite parts about the job is learning about the new projects that people are doing and the creative projects that people are doing, and how some of those projects cross disciplines too. I'm really encouraged to see a lot of the new applications in deep learning that we're seeing, and some of the advanced work that's going on in academia. So if you send us a short description with 2 to 3 paragraphs of your project and images of your project results, you will be entered into the student spotlight. And then what are some things that we're looking for in this? We're looking for a problem, solution, and results with pictures. If you are selected, then we'll reach out and interview you and just learn a little bit more and get to know you. We will post the student spotlight to our website with a short blog highlighting the work, and we'll also promote to social media in our annual or monthly newsletter. Winners will also receive a free ENVI Plus IDL 1-year student license and a complimentary pass to our annual ENVI Analytics Symposium. One of the great things about this is the pass to the ENVI Analytics Symposium can provide a great networking opportunity. If you're a student looking to break into a career in geospatial, we have folks attend our conference from every corner of the geospatial industry. So we have drone providers that show up. We have sensor providers that show up, as well as some of the big names like Maxar and folks from Esri, since we are such a close partner. So if you are interested in kind of promoting yourself a little bit more and enhancing your resume or just getting more involved in the geospatial community, this could be a great option for you. We have some criteria to enter here on the right. Now this is a little loose, but we're looking for 3 main things. We're looking for how unique or creative was your method or solution? So did you use maybe non-traditional remote sensing techniques, or did you kind of break out of traditional supervised classification? So in the tools piece below that, did you use more advanced tools, or did you try to use something different than what would be included in a standard training manual, essentially? And then impact. Who does this help? Is this helping solve a real world problem? That's one thing being in geospatial is decisions, and we're looking for that in your projects. It doesn't necessarily have to be tied to some specific project or some specific problem per se, but we're just looking for that problem solving component, and uncovering answers to help someone either in the real world or there. So Student Spotlight will be posted on our webpage here in the coming weeks. You might not see it today if you look on our academic webpage, but we will be posting that here shortly. So there'll just be a field for you to fill out your name, enter your email, and then you can drop your project description and images in that on the website, and it'll come to us, and then we'll review and reach out to you. I also want to talk about partnerships. So partners have been vital to our mission for a long time now. We count on partners for learning more about enhancing product development, developing learning content, and even having just an open dialogue with research universities. Our partner program provides collaboration opportunities for you to enhance your offerings to students. If you are an academic partner, we can provide some enhanced module offerings or training offerings, some way to make your program stand out. We can also promote your program with the NV Geospatial Center of Excellence certification. What that would be is we would just be willing to promote, either if you needed maybe a banner in a lab, or you just needed some sort of letter of support, any way that we can help highlight your program with that Geospatial Center of Excellence certificate, we want to do that. And we really want feedback from our partners. So that's a crucial component to this, is just that dialogue piece of what are some new things that you're wanting to teach, or maybe what are some things going on in the research field, research part of your department. And that dialogue is just, one, helps us understand how we can make our product and company better, and then how we can have that close relationship between academia and industry, and help everyone there. We do have relationships with many different styles of programs in which we believe their teaching method is excellent and prepares students to enter a workforce and productively use ENVI. So I've listed a few of our partners below to highlight the differences in the programs. So you can see the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey. We have a partnership with them, and they're specifically using geospatial technologies in their non-proliferation program. So it's a really cool program looking at open source imagery, or using open source geospatial technologies to uncover details in images that can be used to help know more about what a country is doing, maybe with their ballistic missile program. They are using ENVI to look at the rocket trails of a rocket launch using a sensor with multiple bands of data. And they're using ENVI to pre-process their imagery before they do this analysis, looking at very small unique things in these images, like changes in a berm around a rocket facility, and how does that change translate to what this country is trying to do with their program. We also have the Rochester Institute of Technology. So Rochester Institute of Technology has been a close partner of ours for a long time, and they have one of the best image science programs in the country. They have really helped us in the past with enhancing product development, and just a really excellent image science focused program. The University of Colorado at Boulder is, of course, a close partner of ours, because the IDL programming language actually had originated out of CU Boulder around 3 decades ago. And so we work closely with the University of Colorado, mostly on the IDL side. So the University of Colorado Boulder is using a lot of IDL for atmospheric research and visualization, and research in astronomy. So they have some really great programs in astronomy, and IDL is a great programming language for visualizing astronomical images, or just streaming down data from different sensors or sources of information. And then I have Bronx Community College listed because we have a close partnership with this school. Dr. Sunil Bhaskaran, who leads this program, has a National Science Foundation funded program that's focused on supporting geospatial learning for all types of students. So, focusing on GIS and remote sensing and, drone technologies. And they do a really great job at just trying to prepare a new geospatial workforce. All right. So working with us, if you are interested in partnerships, trainings, campus and state level licensing agreements, choice credits, help with RFPs or letters of support, please submit an inquiry on our academic webpage. Here on the Industry Solutions tab, you can see up here on the right, you'll be able to scroll down and it'll say submit inquiry. But you can also email me directly, and please feel free to do that. I want to learn more about your program or what you're looking to do. One special thing I want to call out here, I've listed state level licensing agreements. We didn't cover that on the licensing page, but this is something we also offer. So a state level licensing agreement would be a purchase by a state for a blanket purchase agreement, and then they can distribute licenses to campuses around the state. This can be, a great option if your state operates on a large level, like the University of California system or the University of Texas system, and do a lot of license sharing between the different campuses at those big universities. I also do like helping with letters of support or any way to help you chase some of that grant funding. Sometimes it helps knowing that industry is there to support on the technical side or can be subject matter experts. So that is another thing I wanted to call out there, and happy to help if that's something that's needed. All right, so with that, I want to thank you, and we can open to questions. We'll take a look here at the chat box.
Yeah, Andrew, before you do that, I wanted to apologize for not introducing you at the beginning, but we've got Andrew Four, who manages the academic, nonprofit, and Latin American customer base for the L3Harris Geospatial North America sales team. So I know other people in different countries are also on this webinar. We do have channel managers that you will be talking to if you're interested in any of these programs. He just manages North America, but a lot of these go over to other countries too, like all the products and all that. So he provides product expertise on ENVI, IDL, SARscape, Pix4D, Helios products. And one of Andrew's favorite parts of his current role is meeting with customers and learning more about your remarkable geospatial products being undertaken. So always hearing those stories is always great, and we love to use them. We also had on the call, well, we still have on the call, Megan Gallagher and Amanda O'Connor. So they helped answer a bunch of questions already. And you're welcome to ask more questions in the Q&A, and Andrew can answer them right now.
Yeah, thank you, Jody. So I appreciate that. And an important piece to call out there, and thank you for bringing that up, is the offerings we discuss, are primarily North America and Canada. However, we do have academic options in the Asia Pacific region, Europe, Middle East, Africa, as well as Latin America. Those are just managed a little bit differently through our channel partners. So if you are outside of North America and you're using ENVI or you need to use ENVI, we have distributors in a variety of countries across the world that can provide ENVI for you. And they can also provide similar training materials and things as well. They just have a little bit different offerings that it can depending on your country. But we have a lot of academic use overseas as well. So it's important to call that out, and a lot of great research going on overseas. I do, like Jody mentioned, I do manage our Latin America channels. So I've been working with some of our Latin America distributors closely to help set up some lab licenses in different universities. And, we really want to see that expansion, in non-traditional areas that we haven't been as close with in the past. So important point to call out there. But let me just taking a look at the chat box here. I'm going to check time, making sure getting close to an hour here.
There's one question of why can't their
Alrighty.
institution access all the NV modules? So including SARscape, like they don't have our SARscape. So can you say anything about
Great
the
question.
licensing for that?
Yes, so SARscape is a separate add-on to ENVI. But the reason you wouldn't have SARscape is because it's a more premium offering, because we partnered with a company called SARmap, and they actually created the tools and we helped sell them for them. So SARmap actually, they have a different pricing structure and a little bit different offering than strictly ENVI. So thank you for asking that question. SARscape is a little bit, has a higher bar in terms of the full suite of a package to get a hold of that pricing wise. But the SARscape analytics license option, since the price just dropped, that's really the most widely used that we're seeing in this last year and adopted, just in terms of it having a lower barrier to entry. So if you are interested in SARscape, we have its own academic price list. So it has its own whole academic tier of pricing, and I'm happy to provide that. I'm also happy to provide temporary licensing, trial licensing there. So if you want to test out SARscape for a week or 2 weeks, we can certainly set you up with that and get you some training materials to see if you find the tools useful.
And there is quite a few training, people want to know about training. So we do have, if you go to L3HarrisGeospatial.com, you'll find a training section, like a training page. We have recordings of trainings on there for free, and documents and all types of stuff. So I'll probably put that in the follow-up email when I send it to you guys.
Great, thank you, Jody. One thing I wanted to call out to, Johnny, you had a question about thinking about buying the deep learning module, since you're trying to do a new deep learning method. And it looks like you applied for a trial. I can definitely get you set up with that. So if you email me directly, I will get a trial set up for you. I'll send you 2 of the tutorials that we have on our documentation center for ENVI Deep Learning. One of the tutorials is for extracting one feature, and then the other tutorial is for extracting multiple features. So those can be quite useful for just getting started and getting more comfortable. Yes, please shoot me an email and I will get that started for you. And then just, Jody, do we have time for one more, or time to cut it off?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay. Okay, so I'll do one more.
There was one question about, can we use ENVI with Python?
Yes, you certainly can use ENVI with Python through the IDL Python bridge. So I talked about IDL open source integration a little bit earlier. That Python bridge goes both ways. So you can ingest your Python code into IDL or push your IDL code into Python. So the only requirement there is you would need an ENVI license with IDL. You can buy ENVI as a standalone product, or you can buy ENVI with the IDL programming language. And really, if you want to buy the IDL programming language, that's designed for your custom workflows and accessing the ENVI API. And then how much is a license for an individual wanting to stay current on ENVI and for personal research projects? Would the same educational tools be part of any licensing? So Roughly, we have a few different license options, that perpetual and term, and then it's broken out into NV, NVIDL, and modules. So I won't go over all that pricing, but for an NV license by itself, for a perpetual license, you're looking at $1,495 for the US and Canada only. But if you want our full price list, please send me an email and I will send that out to you, so you have it for reference. And then it'll include modules in there as well.
Great. Well, thanks, Andrew, for this great presentation. We're going to close things up. And if we didn't get to your question, somebody will follow up with you and make sure it gets answered. Hopefully in the next day or two, I'll send out an email to everybody with the recording in this slide deck, and Andrew's contact and all that. So thank you for joining and have a great rest of the day.